We're going to take you inside a love story now that became a television event of the decade. 50 years ago today, Hollywood legend Grace Kelly and Monaco's Prince Rainier walked down the aisle while 30 million people around the world watched on TV. And even though the images are a half-century old, they still speak to an America we all knew. So on this golden anniversary, we will look back.
And here in New York, we see Grace Kelly as she sails for her marriage to Prince Rainier.
April 4th, 1955. The USS Constitution leaves New York carrying a luminous blonde symbol of the American century. A 26-year-old girl about to make the ultimate cultural conquest, marrying into the ancient aristocracy of Europe, on board an army of bridesmaids, journalists, and a poodle given to her by Cary Grant.
A picture queen who will become a princess greets her new subjects and is greeted by them in turn as she goes ashore to a tumultuous welcome.
No matter that her new country was tiny, a tax haven then and resort about the size of Central Park in a cove on the French Riviera. No matter that the prince waiting for her there was a virtual stranger, Rainier III, a 32-year-old bachelor about town, who had decided it was time to get serious, produce an heir to the throne. Without an heir, by law, his country would revert back to France.
Hey, that's some rock you got there, Sam.
In her final movie, High Society, Kelly wore her real engagement ring from the prince. She said they married because it was simply the right time, though they knew it was a huge gamble.
Through streets decked with American and Monacan flags, he whisks her off to his pink and white castle on the eve of the wedding of the year.
At the civil service in the historic throne room, Kelly looked tired. She has said she and the prince, together for just the third time in their lives, sat up and talked all night. The next day, the Catholic ceremony at the cathedral, the prince in a wedding uniform he designed himself. She regal in 450 yards of silk and lace. Already a fashion icon, her bridal dress catapulted her into a new realm.
The whole thing was made at MGM Wardrobe Studios under top secret conditions. 35 people worked on it for 6 weeks, MGM said, and all of them were sworn to secrecy because everyone wanted to find out what the dress would look like.
Today, on the 50th wedding anniversary, her wedding dress is on display at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, recapturing the imagination inside a storybook fairy tale that came true. And some secrets are revealed at the museum about her rose point lace and pearl wedding shoes.
I was able to verify one story, and that is that a copper penny was concealed inside the shoe for good luck. While you can't see it or feel it, we were able to x-ray the shoes, and indeed the x-ray reveals that penny that's built very comfortably inside the shoe, so she would have that luck without having to feel the penny inside of her slipper.
Also on display, the tiny prayer book the princess carried on wedding day, a gift from a family friend.
It was fairly common for devout brides to carry a small prayer book, and of course Grace Kelly was very devout, and I think she felt that this was in keeping with the solemnity of the occasion.
I once asked the prince about the moment he saw his princess for the first time.
Was she the most beautiful thing you'd ever seen?
Well, surely, yes. I think probably it was fairly obvious.
Rainier first met Kelly when a magazine arranged these photos. It was a kind of publicity stunt. She was annoyed he was late, and she had to wear a loud flowered dress since her others were too wrinkled.
You said to me that it was not love at first sight, and that was probably a good thing.
I don't really believe in love at first sight. I think true love has to be based on something, at least there is more than a flint.
And did you decide at first sight if it weren't love at first sight? You hadn't decided?
No.
What's the important thing in a marriage?
Mutual understanding.
We now know, of course, that the two of them did not waltz into any fairy tales. Theirs would be a real family, duties, joys, dreams, disappointments, and death. But on this day, 50 years ago, before God and man, a prince and his princess professed eternal love, and the world watched, sighed, hoped, and wished them a blessing. I keep remembering Prince Albert saying once that his favorite memory, despite all that pomp, was pancakes every Sunday morning that his dad and mom would make.